the pressure to phase out fossil fuels mounts at this year's United Nations Climate Change Summit. Today was day one at COP28, which is being held in Dubai. UN delegates kicked things off by agreeing to adopt a new global fund to help compensate countries struggling to cope with loss and damage caused by climate change. Jason Gaidola is following the story for us and joins us now with more. Hey, Jason.
Hey there, Matt. The UN has opened the door for nations to announce their contributions as they prepare to meet for the next 2 weeks at the conference. And some countries did not waste any time. The U.S. says they'll be pitching in $17.5 million to the cause. Britain also says they'll be throwing over $51 million. But it's unclear how much Canada will contribute to the global cause.
Today's report shows we are in deep trouble. Leaders must get us out of it, starting at COP28.
A recent UN report estimates that up to $387 billion will be needed annually if developing countries are to adapt to climate-driven changes. Today, on day one of COP28, the UN's annual climate summit, an agreement was struck to start a new relief fund.
Today's news on loss and damage gives this UN climate conference a running start.
The UN is calling it the Loss and Damage Fund, a communal reserve of pledged cash to help poor nations cope with the loss from extreme disasters like wildfires, floods, and droughts. Environmental science professor from the University of Toronto applauds the move, but adds it also raises concerns.
But it's not without controversy. Who's on the list, who's not? This is very controversial. How much money? For how long? When?
Carrie Bowman believes the world's wealthiest and largest carbon emitters should be donating their fair share. The conference kicked off with a $100 million contribution from the hosts, United Arab Emirates, followed by more than $200 million from the European Union and a smaller pledge from the U.S.
In order to design an effective fund that is based on cooperation and does not involve liability or compensation. And we're very much committed now to work with our Congress to provide $17.5 million specifically towards the Fund for Climate Impacts Response.
You know, one of the biggest problems with Canada is what we say and what we do are two very different things. And, you know, this would be a good point to change the direction on that. So I think it's really incumbent upon Canada to make a contribution. And I hope they don't take the direction of the United States and make a paltry contribution.
Also at the center of the conference is a contested debate, the attempts to phase out oil, gas, and coal, what UN officials say are key drivers to the climate crisis.
We must look for ways and ensure the inclusion of the role of fossil fuels. I know there are strong views about the idea of including language on fossil fuels and renewables in the negotiated text. We collectively have the power to do something unprecedented. In fact, we have no choice.
Controversially, oil tycoon Sultan Al Jaber from the Emirates was named president of COP28 and is reportedly planning to make oil and gas deals.
Every fossil fuel CEO right now needs to decide which side of history he or she is on. And it's very clear that we're in a climate crisis, that further development of fossil fuels, according to the science, is not in line with 1.5.
And circling back to the Loss and Damage Fund, we did reach out to the Office of Canada's Environment Minister, who did arrive in Dubai today. We asked if and how much Canada is willing to pledge to the global cause, and we're still waiting for a response.